Third time's a charm.
Welcome to 1001 Careers. My name is Evelina. I'm a career counselor. And today I invited Yuto. Yuto is a software engineer from Chicago. He got his bachelor's and master's degree in computer science. And he's gonna explain his education path, his career, what a typical day in life is like for the software engineer. So, Yuto, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So I'm going to begin with my first question. Can you please introduce yourself and tell me what you do for a living?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Yuto. I'm a software engineer. I've been in the industry for a little over 6 years now. Um, and yeah,
Hmm.
basically just day to day, just being a software engineer.
Yeah. So what originally got you interested in software engineering?
So, interesting enough, there's nothing that really got me into software engineering. When I applied for college, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, so I applied for colleges primarily as an aerospace engineer, actually. But
Mhm.
for like a lot of my college applications, they asked for a secondary major if I were to fail the aerospace. And interesting enough, at UIUC, I failed the aerospace, but for some reason got into the more competitive CS program,
Mhm.
which is basically what spurred me to just continue going on as a software engineer.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your education path. Did you study STEM in high school?
Mhm.
How did you like your time in college? And how did you enjoy software engineering or computer science in college?
Sure. So in high school, I took AP courses, and like yeah, I think what most high schoolers would be doing nowadays is just taking AP courses as much as they can and all that stuff, those jazz. In terms of what got me into CS, my high school actually had like a regular, not even like computer science class. It was just like learn coding class.
Mhm.
And I just took that. I found that I was really good at it. I found that like it was really fun taking that. So that's why I was like kind of inspired to have computer science as a secondary option.
And how old were you when you discovered that coding class?
Oh, I think that was a junior in high school.
hmm Okay, so it kind of had an impact on your college choice, right, as well.
Yeah, yeah. Back before that, I had absolutely no interest in like coding or anything. I knew of it, but I was like, whatever. Uh,
hmm
I think planes were more interesting, but like again, I didn't have a solid career path. Um,
hmm
but just being able to take that class opened my eyes, and I was like, oh, hey, coding is fun. So that's really what kind of
hmm
brought it up to a point where it's like my second most interest, like the second thing that I would be interested in.
Okay, so essentially you were hooked, yeah, on coding in high
Yep.
school, and then you decided to declare a second major, which is computer science. Tell me a little bit more about your college years. So, university you studied in, and how much of an impact it had on your career, and
Yeah.
did you like college or not?
I think in terms of the university, I didn't like it was regular like
Hmm?
the college gives you like a path that they want you to do, like a base path, and then there's gonna be like add-ons that's more specialized to whatever interests you might have. I didn't really do anything that's outside of the bounds that was prescribed in university. Like I didn't really do an internship, for example. Um, so it's hard to say if there's anything unique that I did in university. I would say
hmm
like it's pretty standard to what most other university students would be doing.
Did your degree though, because you got a degree, right?
Mhm.
Did it help you in getting a job?
Uh, I think what helped me the most, I would say, is just the fact that it was UIUC.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of like companies that were coming out to see like who wants to work at our company, given that you studied at U of I, all these other things. But at when I was going to college, like it also very helped out that CS or just software engineering as a whole was like a very hot field. So. it was like a mixture of like I didn't feel like a huge pressure to need to do something outside of the bounds to make myself stand out,
Hmm.
because there's an abundance of offers.
And what year it was?
Oh, I this was 2011 to 2016.
Wow. So at that time, from 2011 to 2016, was a time when there were a lot of demand, right, in
Yeah,
the computer science
massive,
graduates.
massive demand.
Hmm.
Yep.
How did
And
it
like if
change
if
right
I just
now?
go to a company, they're more than willing to give you like at least like a probing question to see if
Hmm.
you're a good fit for them.
And if to compare it to 2026, how did it change?
So I actually had to go through the job search on 2016 and then once more on 2020/2021.
Hmm.
Um, the For me, the job market didn't really change a massive amount, but I believe that's primarily because I had experience when I was looking around for jobs on 2021.
Hmm.
My understanding is that if you're a fresh grad, especially nowadays, like it's going to be even harder to find or even get like some kind of response from a company. So
Hmm.
yeah, like I I think like there's a lot of factors in play here. Like so I think one is AI, right? Like there's a lot
Hmm.
of talk about how AI is taking a lot of entry level jobs. Number two is just like the saturation of the market.
Hmm.
Um, my philosophy regarding that is that software engineering isn't just about writing code.
Hmm.
It's fundamentally a problem solving career. You have a problem that you want to solve. Um, One way that you can solve it is by writing software. Another way is by proposing like maybe there's like some user path that you can use to solve this. So for example, like um, if I were to use, say take Facebook for example or Meta for example, right? There's been multiple design changes, and each and every single time, um, people may have been happy, people may not have been happy, but that that was both a code change and simultaneously it was also a UX change. You have you have the flexibility of influencing both of those decisions. So that I think it's a very unique path, a unique career, and in the sense that that is what you influence, and that just because um, the entry level market might be getting hard to get into, it doesn't necessarily mean that like your job is getting replaced by AI, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Gotcha. And so this video is for people who are in high school, yeah, middle school, or in college. And right now they are really concerned about the job search or their, career identity. What are your thoughts on, or any advice for people who are interested in computer science in college, but they are very hesitant about it in 2026?
Sure. So I would say if you're looking for a career in academia, just learning about algorithms and all that stuff, just keep going that path. If you're interested in getting into private industries, um, I think it's basically what I've said earlier. It's important to not just like the coding, the algorithms, all that stuff, very important because that's the fundamentals of what they're going to be like testing you on, I guess, as you're looking searching for jobs. But the thing that is very important is are the soft skills and in addition to the hard skills. So if you are worried about the hard skills, put some focus in your soft skills, like being able to solve problems, being flexible, being able to adapt. All of those are equally as important and being able to find a job. Because being a very strong programmer is one way of showing uniqueness. Being someone who is able to solve problems unique in a unique way, that's another strength that you can show.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up the soft skills because I was about to ask you some questions later in the interview about
Okay.
the soft skills as well. Um, but for now, What do you think, what skills do you think matter most for someone just starting out? Like you mentioned soft skills, right? But
Mhm.
can you give any examples or any situations, like an example of soft skill that is really sought after by employers or like by
Sure.
team members?
Yeah. So the main thing is being there's gonna because the nature of software engineering, there's no one right answer. There's gonna be multiple potential solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna have an opinion of what the optimal solution is. Someone else is gonna have a strong opinion on what they think is the right answer is. The important thing is being able to articulate your thoughts, um, and being able to communicate them to other people so that they are also aware of how you're thinking about it and why. And ultimately, if you want to convince them, like that is important too, right? So that they can be convinced that your method is correct. Alternatively, maybe you realize that you were wrong, right? And in that case, it's equally as important to communicate why your solution isn't as optimal as you thought, and why someone else's solution might be a better fit. So um, I think that's like as concrete of as an example that I can come up
Hmm.
that I can think of. There
Yeah.
have been multiple instances of that happening in my day to day. So like
Mm-hmm.
without going too
Yeah.
specific,
Too
that's
too
as much as I
specific.
could probably give. Yeah.
Yeah, and what kind of problems do you enjoy solving the most? You said this career is essentially is problem solving, right?
Sure, yeah, yeah. So for me, the interesting component is mainly efficiency. Um,
Mhm.
there's depending on the company that you work for, there's going to be a key metric, not a metric, but a key thing that you're going to be worrying about is like availability, um, and throughput, or yeah, throughput basically. Availability is like you might hear it down the lines, but like the nines, like 99.99% uptime, 99 point whatever uptime. And then the other one is how many users, concurrent users can we support in our service? So like Instagram, millions, like hundreds of millions of users, even more images that people upload. Like, how do you design a system that can scale at those levels? Fortunately, what the domain that I'm working in is not at Instagram scale, but we do have to consider that like, hey, um, if we were to get three times as many requests as what we have today, like, can our service scale to accommodate for that?
Hmm.
Uh, so solving those kinds of like big data problems uh is what's really interesting to me.
Okay. And how much of your job involves teamwork versus working independently?
Uh, Definitely a mix of both,
Hmm.
but hard to put a percentage because it really depends. So, like I would say just half is independent, half is, or sorry, more like 60% is independent, 40% is working with the team.
Hmm.
Um, that ratio changes the higher up you go up in the ladder. So like initially when you're starting off as an entry, like your primary focus is going to be on yourself. So it's going to be like 90% yourself and 10% with the team, just to make sure that you're communicating where you're at, what you're stuck on. But as you climb up higher and higher, right, you're going to be coding less and less and less, and you're going to be more about architecting, trying to figure out like the big picture solution to a problem that you want to solve. And so, yeah, eventually you're just going to see less and less independent and more
Hmm.
teamwork.
And what are your ambitions in the career path? Do you want to stay, in the same position title, or you thinking about something bigger down the
Sure.
line?
So, in terms of career, I think this might change. This might be different from company to company, but um, there's a notion called of IC, which is individual contributor,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a managerial track. You start as an independent contributor, but after a certain point, it really forks off into two paths that you can take. You can continue to be an independent contributor, or you can take the managerial track. Managerial track, obviously, you just have direct reports, and you manage people. You manage the team basically and making sure that your the work output that your team produces is
Mm-hmm.
uh like
Quality.
consistent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then as an independent contributor, you kind of do similar things. You just don't have direct reports that like you don't have to worry about their careers as much. Like you're not directly responsible for it. Obviously, you want people to move forward and stuff like that, but you're not like directly responsible for their growth.
Mm-hmm.
But you are responsible for like the architecture of your system. So two paths. Me personally, I think I'm more of the IC mindset. So I am interested in continuing to go up, but really all that means is like responsibilities start to pile up on you. So like how far up I can go, that's really up to me.
Mm-hmm.
The world is my oyster. So.
So you're interested in staying in software engineering, or maybe you were thinking about career change to other fields in
Oh
tech?
no, yeah, no, I'm definitely just gonna stay in the software engineering.
So,
I think that the really cool thing about software engineering though is like fundamentally every industry needs software in some capacity, right? Or
mhm,
maybe most industries need a software in some capacity. So
mhm,
like if for example, right now, if I don't like the industry that I'm working in anymore, I could really just find a different company maybe they work in healthcare, for example, or maybe they work in a
mhm,
nonprofit or whatever. So the software is fundamentals are the same. It's just the industry that changed. So
mhm,
it's very flexible, very malleable in that perspective.
mhm. So you mentioned that there are a lot of different industries, right, where the software engineering is required. Uh, what industry do you work in right now?
Oh, I'm in the restaurant industry right now.
Restaurant.
Yeah.
Would you like to stay, or it's very easy to change? For example, you're in the restaurant industry, but then you go to the healthcare, and then you go to something else. Is it very easy to change the
Yeah,
industry?
yeah. So for reference, like first I started at like nonprofit arts. That was my first
Mhm,
job.
mhm,
And then, I just basically transitioned to the restaurant industry. So
mhm,
like I'm perfect example right there. It's like really simple to change. But for now,
mhm,
yeah, I enjoy the job. I enjoy where I'm
mhm,
at right now. So I'll
mhm.
definitely be continuing
Okay,
to work there.
yeah, let's talk. So we, slightly transition to your job, yeah, right now in the present.
Sure.
Tell me about your typical day. How does it look like? What kind of task you have?
Yeah. So from the day to day, so basically we have 2 week intervals where we put like a list of tasks that we want to finish in those 2 weeks.
Mhm,
Once we get that list generated and we start working on them, like I can pick whatever I want to do. If I have something that I want to learn, then I can pick that ticket up. If I just want to keep it simple and just churn out tickets, I can do that either. Sorry, I can do that too.
mhm,
What I want to work on is completely after to me. But outside of writing code, there are a couple of projects that I am also responsible for, meaning like the technical portion, I want to be sure that whatever feature we want to work on next is feasible. Number one, and number two, I want to be able to break it down so that uh, we can complete it, and like anybody in our team can work on it and be able to complete it to the finish.
mhm,
So those two things are sorry. So yeah, so the first half is just the coding part, which, like I said, I can pick up whatever ticket I want that interests me. The second part is because of that capacity that I'm working in as more of like a leader in a specific project. I also have to communicate with relevant stakeholders, managers, teammates, all that stuff to make sure that the project is continuing to go forward and that I can communicate any snags or any blockers that might pop up immediately. So that
mhm,
also takes up a good amount of time sometimes. Um, and thirdly, we have another set of meetings, which we call stand-ups or like meeting or sprint rituals. Really, it's just kind of an outlet for the team and myself to just talk about anything that might be um, unexpected blockers that's preventing work from getting done, or just giving like a status update on where we're at right now.
mhm,
Um, it I know it could from an outside perspective, it could sound a little like overbearing and that like someone's always like curious about where you're at, trying to, make sure you're working and stuff. But that's not at all what it's being used for. It's honestly being used so that like if there's an issue that you run into, we want you to speak up so that we can help you so that you can
Mm-hmm.
finish what you want to finish. So it's
Mm-hmm.
purely meant to be helpful, not and never meant to be like um
Mm-hmm.
punish like it's not meant to like be punishing or anything like that.
Yeah. So you explain your typical day, right, in the career or in
Yep.
the job. Tell me a little bit something. What's something about the job that most people don't realize, or any challenges in the job?
Ooh. Uh, I guess I don't really know the public perception of
Mm-hmm.
software engineering, so I'm not sure what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like I said earlier, would be one like you're not just responsible for writing code. Maybe that would be one like you're not just day in day out in front of a computer just writing code. You do talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You do talk to like project managers, stakeholders, so like uh directors, right? Um, so that might be something that is worth mentioning. It's just you're not just writing code, you are
Yeah.
responsible for communication as
So
well.
no like obvious challenges, yeah, that you can share. You totally enjoy
Yeah, like I
almost.
don't think yeah, the only challenge that I would say is just like this is a field where you're like constantly learning and like for like you will always be learning something new. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
you have a list of fundamentals, but the technology is always changing, so you will always be learning something like the latest and greatest, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And overall, you enjoy your career, enjoy your job, yeah, and
Yeah.
everything is fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. So how can somebody tell if software engineering is a good fit for them?
Mm, for me,
Mm-hmm.
it was that I gave it a try. Um, and then it all just kind of made sense to me. Just once once I got past like the initial like what does writing this mean? What does this do? What does that do? You get past that hurdle and then you get to think about how can I do this? And then if you find that interesting, then I think it's a good indicator that software engineering is at least of some interest to you, and it would be a uh, good career path to search for. One thing that I have seen people get really stuck on, and like has been like the reason why people quit, is the concept of debugging.
Mm-hmm.
Debugging is what you do when you write your code and you realize it's not doing something the way that you expect it to do, and you need to figure out why and fix it so that it does do what you want it to do. Sometimes it's easy, other times it's really, really hard because the computer is only as smart as you are. The computer just does what you tell it to do very quickly. So, like trying to determine where the gap in where your error in logic is, the more complex the problem is, the more difficult it becomes. If taking that time to be like when you run into that snag and you find it difficult or you find it frustrating, that might be a good indicator to start thinking, oh, maybe software engineering might not be for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because that's going to be your day
Yeah.
to day. Like it's going to be a lot about
Mm-hmm.
fixing your own code.
Yeah, yeah. A big part of your reality in this job. And what about the community, right, of the computer science or software engineering? Any books or any websites, any online communities that you recommend for people to join or read or learn more about, just to learn more about the field?
I don't have a good one. Um, what I've been as a consequence of being into like programming, you're going to be exposed to a lot of different languages. And as you're kind of just just you're going to be learning a lot of things vicariously just by being exposed in programming.
Mhm.
I think just having finding a good starting point for yourself, whatever interests you, and then just starting from that point, I think that would probably be the best way to like, I guess, self-study and learn about software engineering. Because these concepts are ubiquitous. It doesn't matter what language you learn. Every language is gonna have arrays, every language is gonna have graphs, like all this stuff. You're just gonna learn by consequence of programming. So any starting point will get you there eventually.
Okay. And what languages do you use in your work?
In the work I use JavaScript slash TypeScript, and I use Java slash Kotlin.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
all?
mean, those two are like are Java especially is like, and Java and Python are the two languages that are very recommended for beginners to start
Mm-hmm.
off on. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the salary and compensation. How a person who is interested in this field can learn more about salary expectations and where do you find this information?
yeah, I'd probably say Glassdoor would probably be a good place to get a good understanding.
Mm-hmm.
There are other websites that give you like an average within your area. That average value, sorry, a separate website, not Glassdoor, would be a good way to to get a gauge of like what your expectations should be. And
Mm-hmm.
then you should use Glassdoor to look for company specific expectations of your salary.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then
And
because it's completely different if you work for like a smaller company, right? Than if you were to work for a larger company. Like even if you're in the same area, the larger company's
mm-hmm.
gonna pay you a lot more, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
What
then
is like
there's
the
also a third
minimum?
website. Oh,
Yeah. What is the
sorry? Yeah.
minimal
Oh,
salary that
oh,
people can expect?
I'm not sure to be honest. It's I
Mhm.
would I would presume maybe like yeah, I think that probably like 70, 80,000
Mhm.
dollars would be the
Mhm.
nation average, but that was like many years ago that I looked at this, so I'm not sure what a good statistic would be for now.
Mhm. Okay. So we have like about 5 minutes left. I'm kind of curious since again, this video is going to be watched by people who are beginners, right? They're
Mhm.
exploring careers. Um, and you mentioned that right now in 2026, it's much more competitive as a field. How, in your view, what it takes to be competitive in this field and stand
Um,
out?
yeah, uh, that's a good question. So I do conduct some interviews as well.
Mhm.
When I look at a resume, um, for a brand new software developer, it's I like to see uh like self projects like so like side projects that you do on the side just so that I can get a gauge of like oh what kind of problems have you encountered what kind of and like um and I just want to see that you are a problem solver I guess
Mhm.
so having side projects you're gonna run into problems you're gonna have to solve them so that those are very helpful I would say but the thing is everybody does that. Like a lot of people like a lot of candidates already do that anyway. And so it's hard I can't definitely say that side projects are gonna make you stand
Mhm.
out.
It's bare
So
minimum.
no
No,
it's
not
not
bare
a
minimum.
numbers game unfortunately. It's
Okay.
just um
Mm.
it's really hard to gauge it. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't have a you should do this to make yourself stand out. I think being
Mm.
diligent in school, right? That's the
Mhm.
best way. Because what's very important is that like that the initial recruiter that you talk to, uh, they want you want to get them to want to get you to the next stage, I guess.
Mhm.
So,
And my last question would be about the job security. And right now you're currently in the field, yeah?
yep.
How many years of experience do you have by 2026?
By 26, I'll have 7 years.
7 years.
Mhm.
So, how do you see the job security in the field for some people who already work full time?
Um, I see a lot of not as much anymore, but you see news of the layoffs. But software engineering is something that's you need the engineers to build. the stuff that the companies want to happen. So I think software engineering for the foreseeable future is still going to be a fairly safe
Hmm.
uh, market. Again, like I said earlier, I think it's getting that initial burst of experience that's going to be more difficult. But once you get that initial set of experiences, like you are going to be it's going to be a lot easier from that point forward, is my impression.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, that was my last question. But before we stop, I just want you to ask, what kind of advice maybe you have for somebody who is interested in computer science and becoming software engineer? Anything.
Uh, yeah, I'd say don't get in for the money. Get in
Hmm.
because you want to solve problems.
Hmm.
Because this is a very problem-heavy field.
Yeah, a lot of problem solving, but once you're good at it, you're gonna start making money. Yeah,
Yeah.
naturally.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Yuto, for coming today,
Yep.
and I wish you prosperous careers down the road.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Take
absolutely.
care.
Bye bye.